SPCA established in 1929. So we've been around for a long time. We were actually named Chester County SPCA before our name change. And the name change came about 3 years ago when we expanded our reach into Delaware State. The Brandywine Valley SPCA has over 2,100 volunteers, and that's all campuses. Westchester specifically has about 1,600. In terms of staff, we have about 100 employees total. My role with the organization is pretty straightforward. I manage all of our engagements in the community, from dine and donates to remote adoptions to corporate events and signature events, including our mega adoption event, which is our largest adoption event in the country.
We get dogs from 2 months old to 15 years old. There's really no specific set age range. There's just a very wide variety of animals. The adoption process is that people will come in, they will ask a staff member to see a dog. The staff member will take the dog into the room with the potential adopter. They will then make sure it's a good match, make sure everybody's going to get along. If they have another animal, they're required to bring their other dog into the shelter to meet, just to make sure the dogs are going to get along. So they'll make sure that they're a good match, and then they will proceed to fill out paperwork and things like that, where they'll go over like behavior history and medical history, just to make sure that they're going to be capable of taking care of that animal.
I am a volunteer for the behavior team here. So we get the pleasure of working with many of the dogs who have either been identified as needing some extra help. And that can be as simple as, they just don't walk well on their leashes, and we're helping some of our volunteers get better at those things. We're implementing programs and things like that, to helping in post-adoption support. I noticed that there was a huge need for catching some of the animals especially with behavior concerns, prior to actually getting out into our community and out into maybe a rescue group and things like that. Some of these dogs are brought in as strays. Some of them have been mishandled, some of them have been mistreated. And we work with those animals and, try to nurture them back and work with their behavior and try to get them back where they can be successful in their new forever homes. Playgroups are now happening every day. It's every dog, every day philosophy. Our dogs get out and they play, and they are so much better and more enriched for it. Their lives here while they're waiting for their forever homes are just amazingly different when it comes to getting out and playing. Come up to me today and say how she's noticed a huge change in our kennel environment, and how the dogs seem much more calmer, much more relaxed, much more happy, and that's really all part of that. It's really about educating the public, and I think we do a fantastic job here with our staff and our volunteers in helping to get these dogs polished. These dogs, when they come in, yes, some of them might need that little extra, support, but all of our volunteers are now being trained at all the different levels that they have. All these levels are basically where our volunteers now walking around are walking them on leashes, where they're doing clicker training. Every volunteer is walking with these dogs and clicker training these dogs. Our dogs go out more polished than any dogs I have ever seen, honestly. So if we're letting those dogs out there, and we've done our due diligence, and we've really worked hard to make sure that these dogs are obviously safe and can maintain themselves perfectly well out in the communities.
So before working here, I worked in another rescue for about 4 years. So here I've definitely had a wider variety of animals. I haven't worked for a shelter who has such a high intakes so we get a lot more animals here than I did where I worked before, working with a lot more dogs, being able to get a lot more dogs adopted. I just feel that working here has helped me assist dogs and other animals on a much larger scale.
Being here has been changing in my perspective on wanting to help educate everyone I see. So, I have so many people outside of here that will contact me, or even you'll see somebody on the street doing something and I immediately want to start up a conversation so I can actually help educate them and make things easier for them and their animals, and hopefully keep those animals in their homes.
Key things are obviously coming in and socializing the animals, from dog walking to cat socializing to grooming. We kind of give everyone a base to work on, and then depending on their interests, they can specialize in a specific skill set. Those are all just a few of the opportunities we have. We have probably about 50 different opportunities for volunteers. So if you're not able to physically be in the shelter, actually promoting our animals through social media, through sharing of our posts, really talking about what we do as an organization and our mission is definitely vital to what we do as an organization and pushing our services. The other thing is actually there are a lot of digital ways that you can support organizations, not only through obviously donations, but fundraising at some of our events. A majority of it is offered online. Kind of being an ambassador for product donations such as litter, leashes, dog toys, things that an average person would need. We would provide that in our pet food assistance program for anyone going through a hardship. So that's another way of doing that. So hosting those drives is really important as well.